Hey guys, what's up? We're back in 2026 with a little bit more scruffiness and a little bit more daddy realness. Now, what inspired me to make this video actually was when I searched the topic, basically, how is it driving a lowered car in winter? There were some searches that did kind of show up that was kind of relevant to what I was searching for, but it was mostly like old stuff or just people giving out like tips and stuff like that. And I think this is partly due to the reason because a lot of people would just simply say, no, don't modify your car, especially if it's a daily driver. And if you live in Canada like me, we have 4 seasons. We have spring, summer, winter, fall, and winter. I almost got that order mixed up. Driving a loader car is just not an option. Now, I will say there's thousands and thousands upon thousands of clips of people driving their lower cars, and I mean real low, where the lip is like almost scraping the ground in the summertime. So in the wintertime, you can only imagine what they go through. They go through some crazy things, and I will admit it is quite entertaining to watch, but also I kind of feel for the owner because now they gotta fork out, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. It's probably thousands of dollars now with prices going up and everything. But without getting carried away, I'm actually going to talk to you guys about the actual realities of having a lowered car in the winter. Now, disclaimer before I get into this, if you have a slammed car that's slammed to the ground where you have to like pivot every little crack in the road and try to avoid it and everything, this video isn't for you, because I'm gonna tell you right now, your underside is going to be scraped up so much, your side skirts will be gone, and you probably would not have a front bumper, and your dashboard will light up like a Christmas tree if you have a newer car. I actually learned, this was a long time ago, there's actual coilovers that allow you to go super low, and there's actually performance-oriented coilovers. Now, what I saw with the performance-oriented coilovers is they did go low, but they never went as low as, let's say, like, I do believe BC has a version of this coilover, and it goes, I think it's extreme lows it's called, and it goes extremely lower than your standard typical coilover would. Now, I'm mostly talking about, again, people who lower their cars reasonably here. Now, I'm going to divide this up into 3 sections because these 3 things can determine if your car is capable of driving in such conditions while being lowered. Now, number 1 is going to be location, location, location. I'm going to sound sort of paranoid, but location does play a huge role in how you get around in a lower car. Now, if you live in an urban environment, you should be pretty good. The only thing you will have to watch out for is very steep hills, and I think this just goes with generally any car in the winter, because trust me, I hate being on top of a hill, whether it be a stop sign or a traffic light, and it's just like, please, I don't want to be stuck here. I really don't want to be stuck. Like, you're praying to God that you do not get stuck. Most times I'm good, but if I'm behind someone, I'm like, I don't know, I'm panicking, which is weird because that's usually not my character at all, but location plays a role. Now, if you are in the countryside, I will have to say this, unfortunately, I don't think it would be a good reason, or if you know how to adjust the height yourself, you can adjust your car back to stock height, because if you live in the countryside, usually countrysides get a lot more snowfall. You need as much ground clearance as you can get, and it's a little bit harder to navigate compared to the city. Not knowing where you are, but just navigating through the snow, because again, you guys do get a lot of snow compared to an urban environment, which they have plows that plow more often, they salt the road, so it's just going to be a little bit more on a consistent basis, and also it's a little bit more easier because they get less snowfall as well. So take that in consideration where you're located. Now, I'm located in sort of a, you can say I'm in a suburb / city environment, so the roads are usually pretty good. The cars drive over them constantly, so that keeps the level down. And I would assume heat plays a role. Every car is emitting heat, so in that concentrated area, so that section of the road is usually a little bit less. And I've actually driven my trusty 8th generation Civic Si, which is the main character on this channel, because you guys have seen so much of that car. I've actually driven through quite some bad snowstorms, which kind of amazed me that it got through it, because I thought it would have been stuck for sure, but she can get through a whole lot, which is pretty cool. So number 2, maintenance. Now, maintenance is not going to be anything dramatic, but one thing I will say is you will be washing your car a lot more in the wintertime. That's just because the car naturally gets more dirty, and you want to get as much of that icky, nasty stuff that we call salt off the car, because my goodness, where I live, they put it everywhere. They put it on the bench, and it's like, easy guys, like you're gonna destroy everything. It's gonna eat away at everything. But the point is, you got to wash your car as often as you can in the winter. Now, there is a method to it. Usually when we have a little bit of a warm spell, usually when it's like -1, 0 to, you know, or if it's single digits positive, like 1, 2, 3, like above 0, it's best to wash your car then, because it's really easy to get all the grime and stuff off. And then and the reason why you don't want to wash your car when it's like -20, because as soon as you wash it, it's gonna freeze the minute, you know, let's say, or if you have a garage, that's fine. But let's say if you're at one of those places where it's a do-it-yourself area, where you have the spray gun, you know, the soap gun, whatever, the brush, please don't use the brush. Don't ever use the brush. Try to find a car wash that does not use that. The least amount that you can touch your paint, the better it's gonna be. Now, just a little bit of a disclaimer, which I should have said in the beginning. You might hear a little bit of screaming. That's just my niece running around. My sister's watching her, so it's all good. And the other part of maintenance is, outside of your typical stuff, is just checking up on your filters, your engine air filter, your cabin filter, because it is winter time. You know, there's a lot of salty, dusty air. There's a lot of muck being pulled up and stuff. So just make sure it's clean, make sure your filters are good, and you should have a pretty good time to go. And number 3 is technique. Now, obviously, you know, driving in the summer and winter are 2 completely different things. You can't even press the brake. You can't even do anything the same, because in winter, you have to be very light and delicate with your inputs. You cannot, and absolutely, positively, you cannot slam on your brakes. You slam on your brakes, it doesn't matter if you got a bald tire, doesn't matter if you get all season, a summer tire or winter, it does not matter. You will slide. You know, some tires will slide less if your tires, you know, has pretty good tread, but it doesn't matter. You're gonna slide, and you're probably gonna hit the thing that you don't want to hit. So it's always best to be very delicate and light on your inputs, because the harsher your inputs are, that will translate, you know, to wheel spin and all that. So you just want to have good driving techniques in the winter, being very light with your inputs. That's probably one of the biggest tips I can give you guys. Be very, very light on your inputs. Now, when it comes to lowered cars, I haven't mentioned this, I probably should have brought it up as well, is what do you do with all that snow that gets kicked up in there? Well, just like any other car, you usually try to get rid of it the best of your ability, you know, give it a little tap on the body to get all that stuff out of there, just so it just melts faster and stuff like that. But if you have access to a pressure washer, just give your wheel wells a rinse. Probably, I would say 3 times a week at least, just to, you know, keep it clean under there. And that's pretty much the best you can do. And also, rust proof your car. I usually rust proof my car every single year. I usually do it in the fall. Because fall has very cold, dry air, so the stuff can cure on the body. And yeah, pretty much winter, I'm all protected and everything is good. So driving your lowered car, you really just have to assess those 3 things, basically. I live in an urban environment, so it's not that bad. There are some hills, but again, it's not that bad. So it pretty much all depends. But to answer the question, you just have to be a little bit more mindful. It's not anything dramatic, but again, I'm mostly just saying for people who have their cars lowered a reasonable amount. I'm not talking about slammed. So I hope this helps you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.